Hey, thanks for checking out the series here that putting together from different writings and from different sources here. Hopefully this is useful information to you. Hopefully you're gaining some knowledge and being empowered by what I've been sharing here. Again, I'll state this is a strong teaching, if you will, from my opinion. It's my perspective. It may not be yours, so please don't be offended. That's not my goal. I'm just trying to throw information, including my opinion and known facts about the Christian faith and the Muslim faith for those of you to consider. And so today we're going to talk about who is Jesus from the perspective of a Muslim. And so Muslims believe that prior to Muhammad, God or Allah actually sent many great prophets who spoke for God to specific people and whose message was meant for that time. Some of them were Moses, David, of course you have Jesus, you have Solomon, you have Noah, and of course they believe Muhammad. And so Jesus then was simply one of the many prophets according to Islam. And so we're going to consider how is it that Islam or Muslims can see Jesus as a prophet of Allah, but not necessarily see him with the same importance that a Christ follower would. And so the Quran does acknowledge Jesus' virgin birth. It does acknowledge his holy life. And it does acknowledge many of his miracles. But it also says that he was no more than a man. Jesus, whom the Quran or Muslims would call Isa, I-S-A, must never be called God or Lord or the Son of God, according to Muslims. And so the Quran has a good number of verses stating that Jesus is not the Son of God or the Son of Allah, and adds that anyone who says that Allah has a son is a liar. You can find a reference to that in Surah, I hope that's pronounced correctly, 37:152. Many Muslims think that calling Jesus the Son of God means that Allah had physical relations with a woman, which obviously is highly offensive to them. Again, even as a Christ follower, I would say that that is not what any faith that I'm aware of believes. And so I'm not sure where that comes from. And so I would just write that off. I would say nobody really believes that. Don't let that be a stumbling block to you asking questions. Again, we're here to ask questions. That's why I'm doing this. I challenge you to not just accept what you believe because other people tell you or because it's convenient or easy, but to take the hard road, do the hard work of asking questions. Look up the term cognitive dissonance and understand that when you don't ask questions, when you don't allow people to challenge you, you're actually taking the easy road, you're cheating yourself, and potentially just being lazy about your faith, which in and of itself could be considered a sin or missing the mark. And so back we go. The Quran teaches that Jesus did not die. It teaches that he was taken directly to heaven, and Muslims believe that Allah would not allow Jesus, one of his prophets, to die on the cross. And that, of course, is very interesting because Christianity and Christ followers believe that Jesus had to die on the cross. And so ask yourself, which one is true? Why do you believe what you believe? Do the research, check that out. Now, the Muslims believe that such a death would mean defeat. If Jesus were killed, that would mean he failed and his enemies won. Christ followers believe that if Jesus was killed and he rose from the dead, it is complete victory and his enemies lost. Again, another one of those things where the Christian faith and the faith of Islam are just diametrically opposed, at opposite ends of the spectrum. So again, ask yourself the question, why is that? Why are they opposite? So Muslims believe that someone else, possibly Judas, was made to look like Jesus and died on the cross in place of Jesus. Interesting theory. There, of course, is a lot of historical writing about Judas, especially in the Christian scriptures, and it talks about how he died even before Jesus did, hung himself, and yeah, so, you know, just check that out, look into that. The Quran says one thing, other scriptures and other writings say another, and so if God is able to preserve his word, and he preserved the Quran, you're going to believe the Quran, but if God is able to preserve his word, why was he unable to preserve the Christian scriptures or the Injil, the Gospel of Jesus, and the stories there which talk about this same Judas, right? And so, of course, since they believe that Jesus didn't die on that cross, they also, Muslims, believe that Jesus did not rise from the dead. Without rising from the dead, the Christian faith does not exist. So ask yourself a question again. Is this important to consider? And of course the answer is yes. And so consider that. Did Jesus actually die on that cross? Did he raise from the dead? Why is it important to believe that that did not happen or that did happen? How is it that Jesus could say all of these things about himself and also be a prophet of Allah? How is it that there are just so many things that are exact opposites to one another in the Christian faith and in the Muslim faith? It's a big question to ask. Again, I just challenge you to do that. Of course, my perspective comes from that of a Christ follower. I challenge you to leave some comments or even give me your thoughts on this. I'd really love them. I'd love to discuss this open-minded as much as I can be, asking myself questions and trying not to be lazy here. So I just ask you to join in the discussion. Thanks for coming by.